All right, coaches, thanks again for joining us. Our next speaker here, our 5 o'clock speaker, is Coach Zach Sweeney. Coach Sweeney joins us from Winterset, Iowa. Coach is going to talk to us a little bit about coaching leadership and talk a little bit about his journey and his career in coaching leadership and coaching the game of football. So without any further ado, Coach, take it away.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, man. Appreciate John and Brian for the opportunity. So, yeah, as stated, Zach Sweeney, Winterset, Iowa. So we're southwest of Des Moines, about a half hour, for those of you who don't know, and home of John Wayne and the old movie, The Bridges of Madison County. So pretty good stuff right there. We'll go ahead and jump in a little bit. Once again, appreciate the opportunity, and then just a little background, little context for you as we go through here on my journey so far. So Waterloo, Iowa, grew up in Northeast Iowa and went to the University of Northern Iowa there. Student taught out in Council Bluffs and stayed there for a year, and kind of, describe it as the Rudy of coaching. Started out in college, interested in coaching, going the college minor route in coaching, not good enough to play at that level, and started coaching in youth sports right out of the gate: flag football, junior high football, head junior high, 9th grade, JV, varsity. So blessed enough to be hired here at Winterset. Went from living in the Omaha area and to a town with 4 stoplights, and little interesting adjustment there, but then fell in love with the people and the kids and the community. And longtime science teacher, very green in 2001 when I became a head coach, and currently now, after teaching science for 20 years, teach our MOC school to work program. Got a master's in there along the way that we'll touch on. And our mascot is a husky, so this leadership thing is ingrained in what I do. Most of the day I teach Husky Ready to all freshmen and all 7th graders throughout the year. 21st century life skills, how to be a human, which we're all in a work in progress there. So for me, kind of describe it with the leadership lottery here, with student teaching, the ladies in my life, and philosophy of 3. So I'll touch a little bit more here in a minute on the heart of a coach with our HR instructor when, years ago when we were out there student teaching. Kathy B kind of put that on me, and I've used this and would implore you to use this with kids or with anybody seeking a job. The heart of a teacher, the heart of whatever you're into, has been outstanding for me and for kids I've mentored and continue to do so. My first bride, Billy, we married in 2001, the 2 months before I became head coach, and a whirlwind journey there. She passed away in 2016 with gastroparesis and paralysis of the vagus nerve that led to her body breaking down. And good Lord willing, I was remarried in 2018 to Care. She also ironically lost her husband in 2016. So there's a weird plan out there for all of us. It's quite interesting. So I've embraced my Irish Catholic roots. I have a 19-year-old son, and Care had a boy when we got married, and now we have a young little 2.5-year-old lady. So got a little span there. So get to go through this leadership and coaching thing for a while. So where the lottery comes in really is philosophy of 3. Was thankful enough to develop a simple slogan, mantra, if you will, right out of the gate that has stuck since 2001, and simply play hard, play fast, and have fun. So that was taken and rooted in a lot of stuff, reading John Wooden, Dean Smith, and then Mike Bellotti, football coach up at Oregon, during that time. And obviously, this for me is all under God and people believing in me. So a lot of cliches here, and cliches are something for a reason. So back to Kathy B, this heart of a coach that I used interviewing years ago, and then has kind of stuck and resonated. she saw something in me. You'll all hopefully see something in your players and your kids, and, allow them to flourish. So kind of the first base idea was, hey, you got the knowledge for what you're doing. You're intelligent, analytical, and reflected, or reflective were those words, and explain that, with your passion about kids. You go to second base through that, in today's world. I would hope, we're all bringing the juice, if you will, and being energetic. I'm starting to get up there in years, but man, hard work and continuing to be open in ideas and projecting and infusing confidence and, making that choice to be energetic. And then, the ability to solve problems. If we're in coaching, the X's and O's, if you will, football wise, look good on paper. Strategies are those things, but continue to solve problems and question what you're doing, why you're doing it. And then, nowadays coaching that's shifted for a lot of us is, the athletes want to know the why and want to know they're cared. And then, let's go ahead and bring that home. What does it mean to be a heart of a coach? And that's that we're going to understand our kids, and read our kids well and find ways to relate, all the way across the board in ever changing times. There's a lot of change and kids are pretty resilient and similar in a lot of ways. So as kind of stated there, the philosophy of three. Threes are good for me. They're repeatable. Our kids, hey, play hard, play fast, have fun. Play hard, play fast, have fun. We can go ahead and repeat that. And those of us have been in education a long time. A lot of things come and go and circle back. And I very much appreciate Coach Wooden's, 8 laws of learning there, with the key being repetition, 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 and quality repetition in there, after we explain and demonstrate and get that imitation piece. Authors you can see there that have been influential at me and kind of in this leadership evolution. We are going to focus on C19 here and what's kind of happened in the last 3 years. But, just exposing people that John Gordon's this guy on positivity and he'll be honest to say, he's more of a negative than a positive, has to work at it. John Maxwell, outstanding, and Metcalf, Airman, Acuff, across the board. Really got into the podcast thing during the pandemic, if you will, and there's some outstanding ones out there, and just a great opportunity to expose kids to different ways of thinking and to get them to see, man, as Brooks Harper, a guy that we use in our 7th grade Husky Ready, says, man, you can get quite an education at WSU, and he calls it Windshield University. Just with listening, way back in the days to books on tape, to books on CD, and now through podcasts, which, Intentionally Grounded does a good job. So during that time with C19 and wanting to validate and try to get an edge, did personally a lot of webinars, Facebook Live stuff with different things across the board. And then obviously some books there that you see that have been influential lately. So, and once again, I know we'll have a Q&A at the end as we need to, and I'll put my email up there and can get you guys this as a PDF as well as you need. So leadership, man, we work for that definition and what is it, and I appreciate where John Maxwell, one of the foremost experts, boils it down right to leadership. Leadership is influence. Just write down, let's influence people. So we're all going to have an influence on someone. And that number one responsibility, where he goes into it is trust. And we all know the cliche that, trust is earned across that way. One thing that's kind of been unique as I've transitioned in my life, and you see right here with Rosaline with a great leader article, that there's a gap now, in leadership. Whatever 58% means in there, I equate it to talking to some local business leaders and guys that are very influenced and interested in Winterset football here. That gap can be between the old guard. We got some very established leaders, pushing now into that late 50s, 60s, 70 range, still doing an outstanding job. And that gap seems to be there down to that 30, 40 something range, which these guys were talking. and just the whole different view that millennials have on the world. And then, you know, to question what's going to come out of where we've been the last few years and going forward. And then, you know, Jeff there, hey, leadership, man, they want to know that you believe and that you care. So overview for where we'll go from here then is just the philosophy that I've talked about, that mantra for us: play hard, play fast, have fun. You've probably all done this. It took me a while to get the clue to develop in MVP, you know, really project what do you stand for, and then how we've evolved here at the high school level. So we're southwest of Des Moines, which is a populous area and continues to grow in Iowa. Up until last year, we had 4 classes of football, 4A being the highest, going down to A with then 8-man. This year they moved and developed a 5A class, which bumped us as Winterset into a 4A division. And we were thankful enough, you know, to have a good year tangibly, and then, you know, hopefully that'll continue down the road for these kids with all their experiences and opportunities. But leadership, how's that developed into our meetings and developing our captains? I'll go through that, and then kind of take you through then what we do looking in that C19 thing going forward with, you know, 16 to 18-year-olds, and we will draw in some 7th and 8th graders for some of these sessions also. And then after the C19, obviously, then what we did in 21-22 and where we're at going forward. And just a couple phrases, you know, that were on my mind putting this together. We all know as coaches and influencers, hey, what we permit, we promote with kids. And one thing, you know, we always need to do a better job and be intentional on that. And then, hey, are we coaching it or are we allowing it? You know, if we allow it, we're endorsing it. So let's be intentional that way. So then we'll get into a little bit on what we've tried to do process wise, once again, with that word of, man, just being as intentional as possible, having intentionality on our mind and tightening down our verbiage. You know, there's 100 ways to do things. This is the way we're going to roll here at Winterset, we hope. So I did build a few of these in. This will maybe be a water break for me. And apologies there, because I get going and when we do these live, man, I get talking and talk a little faster. All right, so there's without further ado, there's our philosophy: play hard, play fast, have fun. So, you know, broke it down into those 3 and then try to go 3 off of that. So you can see play hard for us is attitude, effort, and desire, and get the kid to understand these things. This is one thing that we're looking to reboot, if you will, in 2022. Let's make sure our kids know what we mean when we say play hard, you know, because we want them to play hard, play fast, and have fun while they're here at Winterset High School. And we want them to play hard and play fast, have fun, you know, for life. So how do we define attitude? As you can see there, you know, positive, take that next step, effort, 100%, you know, that control what we can thing. And then that desire piece, you know, as we need to be competitive and practice well and hopefully play well. And hopefully those traits carry on throughout their life. Play fast for us, you know, it's cliche. We'll be a 3-4 on defense, a little bit undersized, if you will. And man, we got to play fast. And we'll talk a little bit of our verbiage as it tied together. First thing for us is we have to be together. You know, that belief in our teammates. We're 1 of 11 on O and D, and then acknowledging all our special teams. Man, we got 77 starters. We need to be together. And smart for us then is, hey, we got to execute what we're being taught and what we're drilled and get the call and go play the ball. And then the integrity piece, you know, be sound and complete and play our game, but let's not do anything to compromise the integrity of the game. You know, we're going to get emotional. We're going to get hot, but let's stay rooted, you know, in who we are and what we do. And then have fun, you know, enjoy, enthusiasm, key things for us. I love the heck out of practice and getting after it that way. And then, you know, success is kind of just John Wooden's version there, that peace of mind, that knowing you've done your best, You know what I mean? And really, we'd only really need one rule when it comes down to it, and that'd be don't let your teammates down. So to get that stuff across, it's easy to say, it's easy to repeat: play hard, play fast, have fun. But as you guys know, it's not easy to live it and to ingrain it. So if we can answer yes to these, we're going to have our chance, to be successful. And that's what we want to do, is be in position. So when we mold it forward, then the last couple of years and starting in 2020, right there through the pandemic, hey, let's just be up front with our MVP. What's our mission? What's our vision? What's our purpose? And this is personal for me, and hopefully what we do throughout life. But we want to put those young people in position to be successful. And, John Maxwell's influence, we want to add value. Our vision is we want to develop that environment, where our guys and gals are going to do this unselfish. And, obviously, you want to win and losing takes care of itself, but be in a position to execute that in the fourth quarter and hopefully to make that difference through life. So we tie that together then with our play hard, play fast, have fun, and just, let the kids know, hey, what do we value? What do I stand for? What do I want to be? And have these things happen organically, these words as they come up throughout the year and throughout leadership stuff, but be very intentional, if you will, with our philosophy. So leadership in itself was probably low level of concern for me through the first few years. Probably some of you that have been teachers and coaches, I just mentioned this the other night. I should go back and apologize to those kids I taught my first 3 to 5 years and those first few years of coaching. And you thought you had it all figured out, thought you knew everything, and realized, you don't know very much, and that continues to this day. But what I do know, what I do believe in is pretty concrete. So I didn't do a great job of making sure that we were teaching leadership intentionally, and where I saw it as with, hey, let's make sure we get the right call and be in the best position. And that's huge. Definitely huge. And where this goes back to the first time we qualified for the playoffs, and I still go back to it. There was a call inside the 10-yard line. We had them backed up, a holding call. We didn't get a good spot from the booth or on the sideline. I thought maybe the flag was in the end zone, tried to get interpretation from our guy. It wasn't, wanted to decline the penalty. Our captain, in the heat of the moment, it accepted the hold, which turned out to be a 2-yard penalty, gave him another down. And you guys probably figure where this goes. They run dive on what would have been 3rd down, and would have stopped them to a punt, but they got an extra down. That down that we gave them, free safety slips, hit a vert, and the rest is history. So that's where leadership was for me, is like, hey, we got to make sure that that we're getting the right call. And then had the opportunity to coach in an all-star game, the Shrine Bowl here in the state of Iowa. And then Coach Bob Jensen, Mount Pleasant at the time, brought me on his staff as an assistant. And, we had to have captains. So he wasn't big on doing it, but we had to have an O&D captain for that game. And Austin Arnaud was our quarterback, one of our quarterbacks there. And he went on to play at Iowa State, and Brent Greenwood for the defensive side of the ball. Quiet, soft-spoken kid, but the kids knew who the dudes were, and they voted those guys captain. So we got to have it. And then through Coach Jensen, he's like, yeah, we started this leadership stuff, and the late Ed Thomas of Appleton Parkersburg, they talked about, and Ed was famous for, before his life was tragically taken, and even beyond with faith, family, and football, guide them, in that definition of leadership. So when I got back with that summer, hey, let's focus on getting their lifts, getting their lift number. And okay, you don't get your lifts, we'll be flexible. You can do Navy SEAL workout, get your stuff, and started the straight boat thing. And then, we had some guys qualify, and wouldn't you know, right away had the upset parent and the grandma that wanted to make sure that I knew, that she knew that I was number one that way, and the drive-by situation with the finger. But that set us up for like, hey, what are we doing here? Let's build off of this. Let's develop kids. Let's get them away here, because let's have it be just more than captains. So where we went to in the high school setting was the last Friday of the month, January to June. And now with how our professional development is done with a late start Wednesdays, we do that Wednesday at 8:30. And so we tied that right into 70% to be a captain. In our state, we have no pass, no play. We have to be a good code of conduct standing, with the school, get your number of lifts, and then we vote on O&D for the main captains, if you will. And those are the ones that are going to accept penalties. And then they get to hear each year about the Clear Lake story, and some stuff we blew. And then we finally grew into, hey, this is all more about football. We'll have a few that'll go play after high school, but this is about developing men. So we're going to kind of fly through here. I'll throw a lot of stuff on there. So from 2007 up through 2019, very rarely did we repeat what we did with our leadership sessions. We always had our play hard, play fast. We have developed, like you saw on the MVP, but going back to a book on no excuses, to some Q&A stuff, to some stuff that we put together through clinics. Once again, back to some books. Sean Glaze was influential for us there. And then we developed our own Husky way that caught some traction for a while. And then when in the process of me getting my master's with the University of Concordia, Coach McElroy out there with the Gauchos was influential there, guiding us, and then back into some book stuff, with Winning the Locker Room, All Pro Wisdom all the way through, and into a leadership packet that we developed. So tried to guide us, pull in resources, try to keep it fresh. I've been asked before, why don't you just recycle some of those? And while I should, we will have a situation where we'll get a couple invested 8th graders that'll go all the way through their senior year, and want to have 4 or 5 ready. And then it's always good just to stay up with the times and interject and pull. And we'll bring it right up to here, because we are going to spend just a little bit of time taking a look at how C19 influenced that and what we did and how that evolved our leadership even more. So probably like a lot of you out there, we develop a theme every year. We tie that to our camp t-shirts, to wristbands, to hashtag now with Twitter and tweets and huddle and whatever kids, do on top of that. So we got this years ago, coming off of a clinic with Coach McCartney when he was at Iowa State, and he had Oamatia that year. It was one of the most improved teams in the nation, and we kind of ran with that over the years. And some of the recent ones up to 2019 were win the moment, see, commit, surrender, and trust off of chop wood, carry water, strive for greatness, a dual one because it just kept getting tied in a vote off. So we did both of them, face everything and rise and fight through adversity, and NPOB, next player our best. So the kids enjoy that. It's something they look forward to, and hopefully that can tie into our philosophy and what we go to there. So hit another little water break, and once again, thank you there, and sorry for my grammar. Do have a couple of degrees, but not the greatest there. All right, so when we rolled in, we started leadership in 2020, and then for all of us, stuff hit for us. We were just leaving for spring break, and then we didn't see kids again the rest of the school year. So that was March for us, and we had already had 2 leaderships in, and we were rolling, and spring break happened. And then when we got back, just look at the calendar here, I think it happened that hey, that next week back we were supposed to have leadership. Can we have it? And we rolled the dice, set up a football page, Google Classroom. We use Infinite Campus, message parents, football players, text the one we had. And, got permission, got the approval there with the AD, principals, coaches. And where we were at as a staff is, hey, we just need to do something. We need to engage kids. What's right. We weren't sure. Our state, you need to have massive voluntary participation. You're not supposed to track weight room or track leadership per our understanding. So this was navigating new waters, and it was pretty good. So this is one right here. This was our second meeting right before the pandemic. This is an example of what we did in 2020. We were using, as you can see there, the 7 habits of highly effective teens. So, us as coaches, we kind of pull down where do we want to go? We want to guide those thoughts, interject appropriate readings in there, as we see fit. And, this was habit 2. And then we tied some stuff in right from the reading as we went there. So this was the last one. We would do this pen and paper, and this was February. And then you can see, so the 25th, we rolled the dice, kids gone, got a number of kids to engage, would always want more, but need to be thankful for where we were. So got this going in Google Classroom before the whole Zoom stuff jumped in there, and listed a bunch of things that we were going through. And that one literally it was almost active there on Google Classroom. I'd post a question, people could respond right on there. They could see other people's responses. Excuse me. And that evolved right out of this. So did the Google question right there. And then you can see that March 25th, had just a bunch of questions rolling through right there, and would try to respond to them as much as we could in real time. So then that jumped into Zoom, as a lot of you know. So we did the March 25th deal, and then I asked the kids, hey, let's roll. What do you guys think? And they agreed. And then we hit about a 2-week thing that really pushed the leadership data bank. So thankfully we had all those years, and we had, all these things that we could pull from, books, PDFs, etc. So we tried the Google Meet at that time. Wasn't very good as far as that went. And you can kind of see where we got into some topics and rolled. And then when Zoom popped up there, then we started rolling in the Zoom framework. And thankfully, during that time, we're getting done reading some coaches with the Culture Defeat Strategy, CDS there. And then Winning Mindset guys do a nice job. They have a podcast, website. We got a Become a Predator football player. So we utilized that and kind of made it every day for a number of days about, hey, let's do some leadership. Let's share some information, and let's show them something football. Some guys were hungry to talk football. So we kind of did a scheme or a play of the day on offense, and kind of talked through some things with some focus for, if we were live in the classroom, we keep it down to more of a 25 to 35 minute session. And some of these with the kids wanting to engage, went and well exceeded that time frame. And you can kind of see there kind of where we went through. And then we'll go to the pink there. So a couple of these right here, as we'll go and flow into process a little bit with leadership, we'll do some lesson 1 and 2 thing. So lesson 1 on this day, which was pretty powerful, would have been much more powerful if all of these guys, these all represent a person there, would be saying it face to face. But was pretty powerful none the least when we're a month into being shut down, and through some guidance we're saying, hey, what was your best game, or what were your best plays, and what were you thinking, what are your thoughts in hindsight, what's happening when you play well. And probably prior to this time, I had never really expressed that. I'd talk to one or two guys on a bus ride or after breaking down film or in a weight session or, even in a classroom situation. Hey, I've done it periodically. What's good about that lesson? What's bad? Give feedback. So these guys, got pretty vulnerable, and that's where you get, authentic leaders need to develop that. So what was it like when you were playing, in your mind, your best game or some of your best plays? And as you can see there's some consistent themes that came out of that. And then part two, then, we broke that down and then go right into, so what about your not so best game? What ended up going through your mind, when you played bad or when you couldn't get yourself right? And then you see some of these things pop up there. And hey, if we want to play hard, play fast, and have fun, and we're overthinking, or we don't have focus, or man, we're not caring for our teammates, we don't have juice, or Lord forbid, we're not even knowing what we're supposed to do. Those were things that, man, we got to just continue to be more intentional, more intentional, more intentional. Go back to John Wooden, boom, spent time teaching his players how to put on socks, and shoes, because man, they get blisters, they don't practice. So what are these things we take for granted? Wrapped this day up and help guide us forward, really, and into controllable things. So from our perspective as adults, and like I tell them, I try to hold on to 15-year-old thoughts, and that gets harder and harder because every day I'm farther away from that. I'm very, immature is a good way to put it, and lighthearted and a big kid, but you get farther away. What are those things? So what do guys see? What did our players see as things that they can control? So, and then you start to hear our words coming back. You start to see stories and things coming out from our guys, and just, it was an excellent and awesome opportunity. So that really tied back what we took from the winning mindset guys. Hey, if we're going to train our brain, we see right here educationally that, man, if we can practice stuff, teach others, and get that discussion piece, and those were some things that came out of this that we tried to incorporate, that that open sharing, teaching, counseling, sort of things, even from afar, was definitely beneficial for us. So C19 beyond, where we get back in Iowa, we could start working with the kids June 1st. Who knew what it'll bring? Who knows what it still will bring? There's a whole lot of stuff, other people can talk about. They're way smarter, opinionated than I. But we wanted to say, hey, gratitude and grace can go a long way. And this is about building relationships with the players. So we did it remotely and not all engaged. And then that was a main focus going forward, because we hope, like anything in life, this too shall pass also. So any thoughts you would have or suggestions, we definitely take those, and I'll leave that up there for a minute because there's my email there. It's a good way to communicate with me, zweeney@winterset.k12.ia.us. So coming out of that, working with kids, we had saw a video, a webinar, really what is process. And PJ Fleck, coach in Minnesota, talked about, process, words like family, words like culture, that, most of the time they're overused and underexplained. So overused, underexplained. And that's even this year, when we get there, that's where we're at, coming back to the culture piece. So tried to look into the process piece. So once again, we all have a verbiage. Okay. Do our kids know it? So if we're playing cover 2 and our safety is not reading right, getting over the top to his landmark, or somebody doesn't get a call and we don't play the ball, all the verbiage, all the calls, everything's out the window. And you guys have all seen what assuming can do to you. We want to assume positive intent. We want to assume all our coaches are in. We want to assume, we're all here for the right reason. But then, hey, back to Wooden and that intentionality. Let's tie things into a process. So for us, this was a chance for us to go back and say, hey, what is our brand? We want to be a physical, disciplined football team that executes. So do our kids know, play hard, play fast, have fun, what that stands for, what that means? We even found after this year, we're going to go back and do a better job of that. When I was at UNI, from Coach Allen down to Coach Farley there, they used sack rap for years. Stance, alignment, key, read, react with technique. We brought that here. We modified it down to AARP, align, assign, read, play, align, assign, read, play, align, assign, read, play. Stuff that's easy to do, easy to lock in, but also easy to do. We want to be present moment aware. And I know PMA, positive mental attitude also, but present moment aware. Down in distance, reading people on the field, reading people in life, and where can we get to our zone of optimal functioning? What does it mean to be in the zone? So where's your zone as a kid, based on your role? And then we want to be a physical, disciplined football team that's based in execution. So we need to teach those things. We need to ingrain those things and how we process those things. So get off the ball, center of gravity for us, and man, line of scrimmage, some other vernacular that would tie into this thing. So when we look at leadership and we say, hey, we want to assume, so develop our language and develop our brand. We've probably all been there, and this is going back to 15-year-old brain. You probably all had a coach. I've done it. Hey, go get your mind right, clear your head, get ready to play. All right, be mentally tough. Well, I'm not sure if I was ever taught those things, and if I was it repeated enough that it was ingrained? So then how can we do that with our kids? We need to teach mindset and that intentionality piece, excuse me. Here's what we're talking about to get ready to play. Okay, here's what it means to get your mind right, and try to develop just some small, simple things that we could come back to and talk to with those techniques with kids. And then from Josh Metcalf and his co-author that escapes me with Burn Your Goals, but hey, being mentally tough is down to these things, and have a great attitude, do your very best, notice, do your very best, treat others really, really well, have tremendous gratitude regardless of your situation. So we can bring 100% of what we have, even though we're not going to be 100% that day. So these have been key things that we need every year to keep coming back through and referring to, because every team's a new team and a new challenge. So coming off of that with PJ Fleck, what's your process then? Who, what, when, where, why, how? Most can't describe who they are. So like he said right here, we don't want a bunch of independent contractors. We get that in a school our size, and it cringes when we have college trained people that break down and say, oh, my this, oh, my that, my student, my soccer player, my football player, whatever it is. Hey, if we want to process, let's show this and embed this through the school. So then we took that as coaches and said, who are we? Okay, we're Huskies. So what's that mean? We're a team of dogs. What's a team? Back to Joe Ehrman, Maxwell, some of those people, is set of relationships for a cause, and then get that ingrained. The strength of the team is the dog, the strength of the dog is the team, and get in there where, hey, we want to sacrifice, serve, and trust, and use that word love you that is easy and free flowing and can be said between player, coach, etc. So our process, what do we stand for? We want to play hard, play fast, have fun. When do we want to do that? Right now, in the moment. We want to perform in the moment, and we want to be able to play hard, play fast in whatever that is. Opening the door up for somebody coming into the school, picking up stuff off the bus in the locker room, which we need to get better at. Because where are we headed? We want to be headed towards success. Football, tangibly, we want to have the ball in the fourth quarter with a chance to win. Why? Going back to our mission, vision, and purpose, we want to add value and put people in position to be successful. And how, going into some of Dr. Kevin Elko stuff here too. Hey, we need to be where our feet are and be present, playing hard, playing fast, having fun, and bringing that. We always want to have a great attitude and effort, but man, let's bring some of that aggressive energy, because we're through this time where stuff's contagious. Well, who we are and how we do things is super contagious also. So, we wanted to be intentional about being intentional, like we talked right there with those key things for us: play hard, play fast, have fun, line of sign, read, play. And we wanted to involve our players in this, and get them to see that, hey, we need to develop this trust. We need to have patience with one another. Okay. And we're going to try to be our best version. So in coming off of that in 2020, the kids are saying that year, our hashtag was Bob. Okay. It started out as be our best, and then it was be 1% better, be our best version. So that's kind of where we were. That's kind of what we got it down to. Don't just be that one. Let's go ahead and be better. And man, we need to give each other some grace going through that. So leading into that season, the process challenge there is while I am like the things of three, and then just, we're all hypocrites, myself included. So we try to do a 5 deal here. Hey, we're all leaders. And the deal was, if someone comes to practice, okay, can they tell within the first 5 minutes what our philosophy is, or something that we stand for? Can they tell that we value playing hard? Do they hear us using words like attitude and effort? Can they pick up on playing fast, that they're together and smart? Can they see that having fun is important to us, so we're enjoying things with enthusiasm? The other thing, hey, so somebody new comes here, can they see within that first 5 minutes that coach, player to player, that we're having 5 touches? Especially coming off that expanse with the pandemic. Research shows great teams touch, boom, where are we at? High fives, whatever. Can they see us positively reinforce? Could somebody there pick up what we stand for, that we really are rooted in fundamentals, that we're teaching some of our game plan stuff if they were there in that particular same segment? Can they do they hear us say a line of sign, read, play? Do they hear us talk about attitude, effort, and aggressive energy? So that was good checks for us as coaches and players. And to keep moving forward, are we being positive? Humans respond to being recognized, being affirmed, and really, as we know, and we're learning, and I'm learning a ton on being appreciated. So having gratitude and expressing that gratitude for the guys that are all in. We have people on teams for different reasons, and recognizing that. And I got a little asterisk here that we'll pick up on this one, because as we go into 2021, then as we get ready to wind her down here, here's where we went in 2021. Is started out with laws of growth from Maxwell. With this group, we thought we needed to be very direct and have the time filled. Okay. We had phenomenal run for us. We made it the ultimate thing is obviously the state championship in our state in Iowa. It's to make it to Cedar Falls, to play in the Unidome in the semis. We were able to do that this year. And our bell cow, which I had to teach our main running back, our record breaker, which was a bell cow. We started this his junior year in 2020. But along with Maxwell's growth, we went into the captain class and focused a lot on Tim Duncan, because our guy, Dawson, wasn't a rah-rah guy, but just with his look, with his touch, and reading and learning about how Tim Duncan was such a leader for the Spurs was really powerful, because we had a lot of guys that were super talented, but if we would give them free time, they would go in many directions. So we started that year looking at Marv Levy's 3 questions. Where are you now? Where do you want to go? How do you want to get there? This team had high aspirations, and every year, every team's playing this first game. Every team wants to be 1-0, and winning games is not easy. So how are we going to answer these questions? And then shared with them to kick off our leadership that year. Boom. This is what Marv Levy said, past co-graduate here out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I mean, stuff is simple, but it isn't easy. So for us, we also became a CKH school, capturing kids' hearts, and affirmations are big and part of that. And we had already started acknowledgments, and acknowledgments were huge for us. After practice, calling out a teammate who gave great effort, great attitude. We're going to be more intentional and tie it down to specific days with attitude, effort, desire, tie it into play hard, play fast. We developed our slogan, which was MAD, make a difference. And right away, then part of this CKH, we developed a social contract. So with the social contract, we did a little different. The social contract through CKH, is how, say you're in Mr. Sweeney's classroom. How do you want to be treated by Mr. Sweeney? How do you think Mr. Sweeney wants to be treated by you? How are you going to treat each other? And then how are we going to handle conflict? We altered that a little bit. You can see these words here. We our first question, we got it down to 3 and split our group guys into about groups of 20. I'd like to get them smaller if we do it again that way in the future. But how do you want to be treated? What do you expect from a coach? How you want to be treated? What do you expect from your teammates? And how do you want to be treated? And what do you expect from yourself? So wordsmith these down, had our managers put it together, and then most all of our guys trained it, signed it, and that was a way for us to hey, we value honesty, reliability, and accountability. That's not good enough. Let's go. We say we're going to be hardworking, determination, loving. Boom. Let's hit those with affirmations. Man, this kid was passionately motivated during drills. He was selfless. So doing that after practice and after games, a pretty powerful way to be vulnerable and affirm and acknowledge your peers. So this year, we're rolling with leadership manual and how to build and sustain a championship culture. We got a couple more leaders this year, and we open these leadership sessions. I apologize. It's geared towards football because it's tied to becoming a captain, if you will, but they're open to anybody in the school. It was pretty awesome through that Zoom time, coming off of that Zoom and pandemic. Our girls softball team went and won a state title, and we had a few girls jumping on, listening to Zoom, and last year coming to meetings. So going forward this year, we graduate a lot of guys, a lot of really good players, and there's great opportunities. And we got a couple leaders that are a little more vocal, and many opportunities playing and leading. So you can see right here with our first session, pulled right out of his book and kind of piece it together. Had done some work with it before, might be geared a little bit post-secondary, but some great deals. Once again, if we're going to develop these social contracts and we want to grow leaders, great questions. Everything we got here is obviously taken, stolen, recycled, but it was great to watch these kids get in a couple small groups and facilitate and get their responses. Who do you respect as leaders? What characteristics do you want? And then what is leadership? Your definition. We're going to drop some stuff here from Jeff and some other people. And then this is the one we just did last week. We drop in there back with John Maxwell, the wonderful Coach Dungy, and then Warren Bennis there talking about leadership. And then so we've come back to redefining leadership after last year in 2021, having to be very direct and guide on type of leaders and laws of growth and stuff. With this one, hey, what are credible leaders then? You said back in this one who you respect and some characteristics. So, man, if both captains and coaches every year got to develop credibility, what does that look like and how can we do it? And then what drives our culture? What do we need to stop doing, start doing, and keep doing? And just simple things that I'm sure you've all done, but us being intentional and cycling those things through have just kind of been part of our journey. And this was a pretty powerful piece here that we did as coaches at our winter football meeting 2 weeks ago. And then we just did with kids and to see, hey, they know some things we need to work on. They know we graduated, a bunch of good humans and really good football players. So let's be awesome people. Let's be awesome Huskies and let's go out there and try to win, a few football games. So what will the theme be this year as we get ready to close her down? Right now, maybe some attitude in there, but right now AO for them, the leader is all out, so if that becomes the one that it is, what's that going to mean? But we're always going to play hard, play fast, have fun. We want to be physical, discipline, execution with a chance in the fourth quarter. We know this year, that there's a way to prevail each week. Our margin of error is going to be shrunk down with all the talent we lost. But once again, we said great opportunity, and hopefully, at the end of the day, many wise men have said this, going back to Ed Thomas and many greats. If all we're teaching them is football, then we're not doing our job. We want to set them up with a chance to prevail in life. So, but back to Maxwell and back to the start. Influence, trust, build those relationships and bonds, all cliches, and just a great time, and appreciate the opportunity here with Intentionally Grounded. What a great great name and great way to be founded in this opportunity to reflect and fine tune your process. And I just appreciate the opportunity to present and just be included with this great panel and bunch of speakers. So once again, would love to hear an idea or some info, that you've tried, a takeaway, because, as a young coach and now more seasoned coach, it's maybe those one or two things or something I haven't done that I used to do. And best of luck to y'all. We're working with kids through this track season and spring and summer sports season. And thank you very much.